Thank you. Hello. The one and only time I ever spent the night in Paris, France, I was 20 years old and locked in a jail cell. I had taken a train from Frankfurt to Paris, and my plan was I was going to walk around all day, see the sights, and in the evening get back on the train, not have to pay for a hotel room, and then sleep on the train again. So I had everything that I owned in a bag that was slung across my shoulder. So it was a beautiful morning. I arrive at the Gare du Nord train station, and I have my map out, because we used maps back then, and I make my plans. I go to the Louvre. I see the Mona Lisa. I get to see the Eiffel Tower. I'm sipping wine in a French cafe. And I have a little time left before evening's drawing close, and I have to go back to the train station. So I decide I'm going to take a walk along the Seine River. And it was there that I came upon a group of young people like myself, and they were listening to street musicians playing. And I got to meet backpackers, sort of hippie backpackers from Holland and Spain and Scotland. And we were just having a great time exchanging stories and listening to the music as the sun was going down. I noticed some of the French kids looking off in the distance, and they got off, they stood up, they started to leave. And a couple of seconds later, this guy in a plaid shirt and jeans shows up, and he demands that we all show our identification. And I find out from one of the other kids that this is the Garde Civile. I always thought the French police were these guys with the cute little gray capes on their shoulders and the flat caps, but they're basically glorified crossing guards. They're the traffic cops. These guys are tough, and they want to see tourists spending money. They don't want to see a bunch of students with long hair hanging out along the river. So they start going through everybody's stuff, and the guy in the plaid shirt, he points to me, gesturing for me to open up my pack and show him what I have. Now, I was traveling light, but I was taking care of my health, so I had my vitamins. Couldn't always eat right. They were brown organic vitamins, about that big. I had salt tablets and talcum powder, because it's summer and I'm getting sweaty backpacking. And to make everything compact, I had them all wrapped in little plastic bags. So he found this very interesting, and he calls this other Garde Civile over. The two of them grab my backpack, and they're looking through it, and they find a switchblade that somebody had given me in Germany as a gift. So the crowd starts to disperse, everybody goes on their way, and they lead me to a paddy wagon, and all of a sudden I'm in the back of this van with a couple of other people. Finally it fills up, they drive us away. The first two offices I get taken to, nobody speaks English, at least they're Parisian, they don't try. So, and one of the cops, one of the Garde Civile, young guy, he takes his revolver, slaps it against my back, and hoists it up in the air, showing it to the other guys, and they're like thinking I have a concealed weapon, and he's saying something like, "Le cowboy américain," you know, and they're all laughing. They think this is hilarious, and I'm like really getting scared. So I finally go, there's a third office, and now I'm told in English that I'm going to be held overnight, and that they're going to examine what was in the bags. Okay. I end up in a jail cell with one of the other guys who was in the paddy wagon, a French guy. Even though we can't really communicate, somehow I figure out that he got busted for a little piece of hashish, and like myself, he's not allowed to make a phone call, and his wife and his kids have no idea where he is. And I'm thinking, nobody in the world knows where I am. They've got my passport, they've got my money, they've got all my possessions in some office in this prison complex. So it was kind of a rough night. The next morning, the little hatch in the jail cell opens, 2 croissants come through, and honestly, they were good, 2 bowls of coffee. Not cups of coffee, cereal bowl-sized bowls of black French coffee. So I hadn't slept much. There was a guy in the next cell going through withdrawal symptoms. Some junkie was making noise all night long. So I'm like hardly awake. I guzzle down my bowl of coffee, and swallow my croissant, and a few minutes later we're marched out individually to the office where I was the night before, and there all my stuff is laying on the table. My passport, my money, the vitamins, the talcum powder, and unceremoniously shoved to me, and the guy points to the door. And I'm expecting like, oh, we are terribly sorry, we inconvenienced you. Please enjoy your stay in our lovely city. Nothing like that. Points to the exit and calls the next guy over. I get outside and I'm thinking, I never want to be in this town again. But on my way to the train station, I decide I need something to eat. And even more than that, I need a bathroom. That black coffee was churning in my stomach. As I leave that restaurant, I'm looking back and I see water trickling out from under the bathroom door. And I make a beeline for the train station because I don't want to find out what the punishment is in Paris for clogging a toilet. Merci.